Remember a few months ago, last year, when they're like, UPS is given a 49% raise to da-da-da-da-da. You say, oh, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with people making $120,000 driving into, you know how hard that job is? I said, yeah, listen, why don't we raise it to, they were making $50 an hour. If you remember, we were talking about, they went to
exactly
$50 an hour working at UPS, right? I said, by the way, take it to $200 an hour. Why stop at 50? Let's go to $400 an hour. But guess what?
$800,000 a year.
Do you know what's going to happen? If you remember how the reaction was on the clip, I know you'll remember this.
Yeah.
I said, they're going to fire many of you.
Yeah.
So great. Awesome. Give the raise. It's like, no, they're not. They're going to, no problem. UPS, folks, to cut 12,000 jobs and mandate return to office 5 days a week, because when you do a strike and you ask to get paid $50 an hour, a company has to make profit. They got to fire some of you. 12,000 of you are going home without a job, especially those that don't want to work 5 days a week. This is a Wall Street Journal story. So 12,000 jobs primarily targeting management staff and contract workers with a focus on enhancing productivity amid business slowdown. CEO Carol Tome described this as part of their Fit to Serve strategy. What a great word, Tom. Fit to Serve, right? Fantastic. Nice. The company has managed that staff return to office 5 days a week starting March 4th. This decision aligns with efforts to address concerns raising during contentious labor negotiations where frontline workers resented in-person office. UPS financial results serve as an economic barometer, and the company is facing challenges from lower parcel volumes, increased costs, and the competition with smaller carriers. No shit, Sherlock. That's what happens. And by the way, this is probably not the end of it. More coming very soon, okay? Because $50 an hour. I mean, just in the middle of the call, 4 of us applied for the job, right? We're like, are you hiring?
I'm ready to go.
Right, ready to go tomorrow. We'll have the time of our lives working together.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think when you see a story like this yourself? Brigitte, what do you think about this?
This is crazy. Look, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a capitalist, It's when I look at my neighborhood right now, you don't see UPS trucks anymore. You see Amazon. Why? Because Amazon has the edge in business. They are on top of it. They deliver. Their employees are not complaining. They are not on strike. Everybody has business. Everybody is happy. They are delivering the product. UPS just dropped it, and they dropped it big time. And this is a good lesson. Like you said, fire the ones who are complaining, shrink your budget, and then, let them understand how lucky they are to have a job.
By the way, UPS drivers, $170,000 pay package. Okay? Has some Amazon drivers thinking it's time to quit. They make $18 an hour.
That's $36,000 a year.
Wow.
Can you imagine UPS union 170? How long, Tom, will this last? Meaning
the union contract is a contract, so they're stuck with that. But guess what? You know what? Unions don't understand. Once upon a time in this nation, there was a real purpose for unions. Safety in the workplace, things like that. It was real. There were kids working at 12 years old in factories for 10-hour days. It was real. And the combination of OSHA and unions brought some sensibility and balance to the worker relationship. Now, you really don't need unions because you have armies of trial attorneys that can attack companies for individual, malfeasances or things that happen to workers. But now the trickle-down effect, watch the trickle-down effect. Amazon drivers unionize. Amazon drivers want that. Amazon Prime is no longer available because they can't afford to give it to you for, what is it, $176 a year or whatever it is now? Yeah. And guess what? Now the cost of everything goes up. There it comes, Pat. It's inflationary. You want people to earn more money to earn a living, yes. But if you arbitrarily strike to impose it in certain sectors, it's inflationary. And this is the net result. That headline says it all. There's a lot of Amazon drivers. I bet you're sitting in garages someplace. What if 300 of us here in Cleveland just don't deliver tomorrow and we just get the local, UAW behind us and get on with this?
Adam.
If they're looking at what was the title of that headline again? Is that they're looking at some Amazon employees making $18 an hour are looking at the UPS pay package and thinking it's time to quit. It's not some, it's every single one of them.
You nuts?
Basically saying I'm making $18 an hour. Well, these guys are making close to $100 an hour.
All the English.
Let me go do this. So Tom brings up a good point that at one point there was a need for being unionized. I don't know whether it was in the early 1900s or whatever year it was, Tom, but it was for workers' rights and workers' safety and basically safety in the workplace. And somehow it has now become basically sort of an extension of socialism, an extension of, like, we had this conversation of, like, where should we basically book the vault? Where should we book these things? It's like, well, if one's union, one's not. Well, I don't want to deal with the union type stuff. Whether it's SAG, whether it's the Actors Union, what's going on in UAW up in Detroit, in the Motor
Last
City.
year was a year of strikes. There was a year of, investigation. Kaiser, everybody was doing strikes. Hollywood, writer, actor. Right. It was constant. Yep. Right? And, today's union, like Tom said, is very different than the union when it first got started. But the more and more you keep giving these guys, overpaying them, you can overpay. By the way, Goldman Sachs. Okay, when you think about Goldman Sachs, how many financial advisors do you think they have? Most people think Goldman Sachs must have 30,000. Can you type in how many Goldman Sachs financial advisors there are? Goldman Sachs financial advisors. So somebody that manages your money. Can you search that, Rob? Financial advisors. What's the number, if you can look it up? Total financial advice. Okay.
2,400.
How many?
Is that right?
2,400.
Investment management division has a whole boast a team of 2,400 financial services. Okay, how many? 2,400. Do you know how many Morgan Stanley has? Probably 13,000.
10,000.
You know how many Edward Jones has? Probably 50,000. You know how many? Guess what? Goldman only has 2,400. And they're managing accounts to be a client with, which one is that? Morgan Stanley, 16,000. Wow. Okay. By the way, keep searching do Edward Jones real quick.
Well,
you know what
Goldman's minimum is probably a lot higher than these guys.
You know what Goldman's minimum is to be with Goldman? 10 million.
Bucks?
Yeah.
10 million?
10 million to your minimum to be a client of Goldman is 10 million. What's the point here? UPS can choose to pay that kind of money. And their drivers can show up in Rolls Royce and deliver your mail if they want to do that.
That'd be nice.
Can you imagine? Rolls Royce, top down, like a Bentley.
Be careful. UPS guys are going to hear this. They're going to deliver your package, buddy.
Another strike demand.
They come in an Escalade.
Ben David's house? Nah, that package just got lost in the mail.
Have you seen the private cars? Like, it drives up in your driveway and literally the whole back seat is full of those little boxes?
Yeah.
I've seen it. So the guy pulls up in
a Bentley's like,
here you go.
Yeah, so but the point is, listen, everything comes with a cost. You can't just sit there and say, yeah, give me a raise, give me a raise, give me a raise. Client's going to get a cost, customer's going to get a cost, or employees have to be let go and they keep the best ones, which is great. Maybe it's a great strategy they're taking, and totally fine. If you're great as a 170, they're going to keep you. If you suck, you're the first to go. So just make sure you're one of the best at the 170, or else they're probably not going to keep you.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.